Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker of theartfulinker.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm here to share with you this Merry Moose Plus card. Time to get ready for Christmas. Let me set this aside and we'll get to the creating. To start, we're going to use the Merry Moose stamp set, which is a returning favorite in the Stampin' Up! Mini catalog that runs August 4th to January 4th. We're going to start with our basic black and the moose stamp and ink him in Versamark. Make sure he's good and inked up, and then stamp on our cardstock. And then I've got a piece of scrap paper and my gold Stampin' Emboss powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle this on, give it a flick, and then set this aside so that I can use my heat tool and set it in just a moment. I'm going to do one more bit of stamping before I do that. Next, I've got a piece of Very Vanilla and the scarf and my Real Red ink pad, and we're just going to ink that up. I find it better just to set my stamp on there when it's photopolymer, and then give that a hold and press. Okay, so let me heat emboss the moose and I'll be back. Next, we're going to use the buffalo check background stamp, and I've already placed it in my stamparatus. Let me move my magnets aside and push my paper all the way up into the corner. Did you know that there's grid paper for the stamparatus? And one of the things that I like to do with my buffalo check is to ink it up, and particularly since we're making a Christmas card and you may be making several of these, this little tip will help you get things lined up and mass produce, which is always a plus with Christmas cards. So I give a stamp on my grid paper, and then I know that if I lay my cardstock down anywhere that I have stamped, that I'm lined up and good to go. So I have a piece of crumb cake here that is cut at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm sorry that my adding ink to this stamp is rocking the camera a little bit. So this stamp is a little textured, distressed, so you aren't going to get completely filled in plaid with it. Let's take this off. You get this nice little weathered, almost flannelly looking piece. And okay, so next I have this piece of crumb cake that I've cut, and I'm going to use on the inside of my card. So I'm just going to ink this up a little bit, and since I haven't counted down the number of lines, I'm just going to ink enough of it that I will hit my piece of cardstock. So let me give a rub here and pull that up so it's got a little bit of that texture on it as well. Let me put my memento out of the way, and I need to take my Simply Chamois and wipe my ink off. So next I have this Very Vanilla tag that I have cut with the North Pole Wonder dies. They are in the new mini and are part of the Wishes and Wonder bundle. And now I'm going to ink my plaid with some red, real red. And give this a smush. I'm getting a little messy over here. See my fingers turning colors from my ink. Okay, and then I'm just going to lift the corner and pull up. So there is my plaid tag. Let me move this out of the way and we'll move on to the next. Next, I've got a piece of basic black and that tag die from the North Pole Wonder dies, and I'm going to trace the outside of the die. Whoops. It doesn't help if I'm moving it. I should probably tape it down, but that's my own thing. I would recommend that you may want to tape it down. I just get ahead of myself and make it harder by not taping it down. Okay. And then you're going to want to take your paper snips and cut it out. So this is fairly easy fussy cutting, since this is mostly just straight lines, and you're going to cut right on that pencil line. And then here's the only slightly tricky bit, and remember, you're going to move the paper, not your snips, around each of these little humps at the bottom of the tag, the scallops. Okay, pretty quick and easy as far as fussy cutting goes. Okay, and we're going to flip that over so you don't see my pencil lines. And then I've got the scarf that we stamped at the beginning, and need to give that a quick little cut. I prefer to cut as much of the big pieces off my when I'm doing a fine cut. It's easier if I trim big pieces off and have to handle less of the paper, unless you get too tiny, then it's not easy to handle the paper, but then you don't have chunks getting in your way. So I'm just going to come right up here in the middle of the scarf and cut a V, and around the ends of the fringes. And there we go. Let's sweep that out of the way. And I've got the coordinating moose punch. Let me just unlock that and slide him in here. First time we're using that since the holiday season last year. Okay, and then we're going to add our red background in the buffalo check to this black piece that we just cut with multi-purpose glue. And you'll notice by tracing the outside of the die that you get a great layered piece. Okay, and before I lose my scarf, I'm going to just add some glue up here at the neck and add him to my black moose. Now let's slide it up here just a little further, because can't have half of his back showing. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's move these aside, and we need a sentiment for our card. I've got a piece of basic black and my sentiment from Mary Moose, and I'm going to Stamp right here. And grab my scrap paper and sprinkle with gold stamp and emboss powder. And then go heat set this with my heat tool, and we'll be back and assemble the card. Okay, so we have our heat set sentiment. I've got a piece of Very Vanilla for the inside of the card, and then this strip that we stamped at the beginning with the buffalo check background. And I'm just going to add that here near the bottom. And it carries our kind of rustic farmhouse look inside the card. And I've got a real red base, and we're just going to adhere that to the inside with our multi-purpose glue. Okay, give that a rub and set this aside. Next, I've got the buffalo check layer that we stamped at the beginning, and a piece of basic black that is 4 by 5 1/4, so you get just a narrow border mat. Okay, let's bring this back over, and I want my black Stampin' Dimensionals, and it is definitely time that I ordered some more of these. And we'll see whether I remembered to do that on the order that I placed over the weekend. I say that black Stampin' Dimensionals are the difference between wearing a white slip under a dark outfit, and it shows, or wearing a dark slip under a dark outfit and your slip doesn't show. Okay, there's that. And I'm just going to cut up some of my border pieces. I hope you do this and make the most of a sheet of dimensionals. It would be a shame to waste all of these. And one more little bit here on the side. Okay. Whoops. Getting slightly ahead of myself. Give me just a moment. Before I put my tag down, I need these pieces of shaded spruce that I've cut with the beautiful boughs dies. They're a great accent on here, and you can find these dies in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog, and of course in my store. So let's hold this piece at an angle, and we're just going to lay these down and come over here and lay these down. Just adds a little bit of color. Now let's come in with the mini black dimensionals. I don't know if you're aware that the black dimensionals come as a mixed pack of both the full size and the mini Stampin' Dimensionals. And let's see if we can sneak one in here on the leg because of that scarf. Is it going to show? No, it's not. Okay, let's pull these off, and we'll add our mousse, going to straighten this up on my grid paper. And then I've got this piece of gold foil cut with the North Pole Wonder dies. And I just need to add some black dimensional under this and add a little adhesive here near the top. Just going to slightly overlap our tag that's here, but I want to make sure that that looks kind of straight. And then we're going to give this a chop here and a chop here, and then I'm going to give this a little banner end. If you cut up the center first and then cut from each side to the center, it's easier to get an even angle. There we go. And let's grab those mini dimensionals again and pop them in here. And then I'm going to curl these banner ends just a little bit before putting this down. And let's slide this little mess out of the way. And I've got some real red braided linen trim. If you've used the braided linen trim that's in the annual catalog, then you'll know all about this, except it's also real red, which to me is just lovely. And let's add a piece of, not a piece of, but a mini glue dot here at the top of this tag. And then let's take this and give this a little frayed end. It's very easy to pull it and get a little more texture. I'm going to add glue dots under the ends of my ribbon. And so I've got my take your pick here, and we'll do that to give it a little dimension to that ribbon, because we can make it stand up just a little bit. There we go. And that needs to get out of there. Okay, and now we have some of these wonderful gems. I don't know, and that's literally the name of them, wonderful gems. Can you see the glitter sparkle in them? So we're going to use the take your pick and add a mixed group of the gems in both the red and the clear. And trying to decide, let's add one more red up here at the top, and there we have it. So our Merry Moose kind of plus Christmas card. Thanks for stopping by. This is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker of theartfulinker.com. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then click the bell if you would like to be notified the next time I upload a video. Have a great day. Bye.